Ampong. We're joined at this juncture by Professor Albert Puni, a governance expert. He will be helping us understand the cocktail of matters we are facing currently. Prof, thank you for joining the conversation.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
A pleasure. Now, what do you make of all this, wrangling, the calls, the shouts, the resistance to the nominations of His Excellency the President as far as these MMDCE slots are concerned? Let's start from there. Any surprises looking at the pushback?
Thank you very much. Not at all. I think that once it's a political process, you have noises all the time. This is a process where the constituency level will nominate some people, and then they forward it to the presidency. The presidency will look at the list and then would choose the person that will best serve the presidency. So these things normally would have a lot of backlashes here and there, and it is understandable. I mean, it is a process where the political power would have to manage it, the aftermath of these issues.
Now, these pushbacks, are they testament to the fact that we've still not got it right when it comes to development from the local levels or leadership at the local levels? I mean, if time and again we're seeing this stiff opposition when it comes to the nominees, does it not point to a problem?
Of course, there's a problem. There's a problem there. People in the constituency will normally feel that the presidency is imposing some candidate on them, that they don't want it. And then their preferred candidates are not nominated. And that would always be with us. So we need to find a way that we have to, either election that we went there, it couldn't work. We still have to open that conversation and find out how best we can solve that problem. Because if the constituency feels that the person coming will not serve their interest, they will always resist. So there are problems there. And then we, as citizens of the nation, will have to look at it and then find a lasting solution to this problem.
So from the AMA to the KMA to Tama and Tamale to Cape Coast, we've seen, pockets of resistance, the MMDCEs themselves. Yes. But looking at the situation we're in now, it now moves to the assemblies to cast their vote and then either, per Article 2431, either accept the nomination of Mr. President or not. What do you foresee happening, especially in these places where there has been resistance to the nominees? Where do you feel the assemblies will be headed in that direction?
The assemblies usually are divided. If it comes to when issues of that happens, the assembly is divided. So sometimes the assembly will have people who are supporting candidates who are not picked, right, and then people who are supporting candidates, those are picked from the presidency. So in the assembly, to the fractures that we see happening, this disturbance are going to reflect in the primaries, in the elections of the assemblies. So that in itself, we need to have to find a problem, a solution to the issues of even who is an assembly member, who is a good candidate to be a representative of the citizens there, and that sort of thing, because the assembly themselves would have their own problems with the candidates that are coming. You will see if they are going to vote, there will be a lot of backlashes in the assembly too.
Yeah. I want to take you briefly to a guiding principle when it comes to the law in this country. Now, when you look at the article that talks about the MMDCEs, there is no strict guideline for the president. He gets to appoint the people or nominate them, and that is that. There's nothing in terms of a guideline to tell him what quality of people to put in those positions or nominate and all of that. Do you feel that is part of the problem? That is something that ought to be addressed?
I think that is also part of the whole thing, because if you don't give any strict guidelines as to who should qualify to be an assembly person, or there's a qualification there, but I think we need to really look at it. Who qualified to be a very good assembly person to represent the people, and then not the people who are nominated, also the assembly themselves. The assembly themselves, because the assembly should approve the nomination of the president. So if the assembly is also of people who cannot really look at the issues well, then they will approve any person that is nominated from the presidency. So the two sides all should look at. And this is a very big problem, because decentralization is a hard to economic development. And if we don't get this thing right, then we'll be getting people who don't qualify or who don't have the capacity to represent us at the various assemblies and municipal authorities.
Prof, please don't leave us yet. We just want to engage and find out what is happening in Kumasi currently. So please do stay with us. And in Kumasi, there's a group calling itself the Coalition of Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Aspirants, which is calling for calm among party faithful over nominations of local assembly heads. The group is currently addressing this press conference.
Na yeni swadi huni se baby wa constituency bi wa ha obedu obi anipa be edu nipa enum nipa nan ofa kwa abi isa nipa du ba ko na ye fresa di bia enye obi a na betumi yenya eye dan a ba ko pe na o manpanyi e betumi eyi no enti ofa kwa abi isa ye baby a mi bi free a ye du ba ko enti se o manpanyi eyi ba ko a na ka se aka nipa du se aka ne na ka nipa du.
So the little I gathered from that interaction, the point being made that out of a pool, it's only one person who usually would be selected. And that, in fact, has become the very thorny matter. So, Prof, just to wrap the conversation with you, what would you proffer in this instance where we have so much resistance to the nominees? What do you feel is the way forward? If you could advise Mr. President, what would you tell him in dealing with these circumstances?
Okay, what I will tell Mr. President is that this time around, they went to the constituency. The constituencies were able to nominate about 4 candidates or something like that at the regional level. I think that they should deepen the involvement of the various constituencies and district and municipal. When you deepen that involvement of the people, then they will nominate people who the people think that these are qualified people that we want them to represent us. So I think this is the first time that this approach was adopted, where the nominations were coming from the constituency. I think they should deepen it. They should find a process where in the constituency, there will be some sort of election that would select some people, and then it will be forwarded to the presidency. That would sometimes solve this kind of problem, because if you don't involve the various grassroots, then there will be backlashes all the time. And that is what I will be advising the presidency to do. They should involve the people at the grassroots so that the nomination will reflect the will of the people.
Prof, we're immensely grateful for your time. Thank you for joining us on Joy News Desk. That was Professor Albert Puni, a governance expert. We take a break here. We'll be back.